Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Hello, everybody, to the glorious episode of Student Body Rights USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean, beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so check me out there, and then go to Put on Waivers _podcast, and you can see us on Instagram. So check us out there. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast here on YouTube. USC big game at Ann Arbor. First Big Ten matchup as a part of the Big Ten, so we know that's going to be a big game for them, and this could be a springboard. I'm seeing a lot of interesting comments from the people who cover college football that USC beat LSU, so all of a sudden LSU is not that good. All of a sudden LSU doesn't have a great offensive line. All of a sudden, that wasn't a quote unquote real test. Right, this will be the real test for USC as they go to play the Wolverines out there in Ann Arbor. Looks like as far as the linebackers go, I'm excited to talk about like the linebacking core as I thought going into the season. It could be a real strength of this team. We've seen a defensive coordinator. We've seen a linebacker coach in Matt Entz. And then we see them be able to actually get something out of Eric Gentry. Eric Gentry is uniquely gifted to do a lot of different things, and he can play a bunch of different positions. He can cover. He can play the edge. He can drop in the coverage and make it very difficult to get those passes over his huge wingspan. But he's played great football, and I think that's something that really shows up on film when you watch USC on film. And you watch it in the broadcast, he's been fantastic. So they're getting something out of him, and I think that him keeping him healthy, using him the way they're using him the way they use him is going to be something really key for them going forward in this run here in the Big Ten. Now, Mason Cobb was not available last week against Utah State, or actually a couple of weeks ago against Utah State because they come off the bye week. That's something interesting to look at. He looks like, it's from all reports and everything, everybody who's covering that closely, it looks like he's going to play, which is a big thing because they're playing a team who wants to run the football all day and run the football all night. When you have Alex Orji as your quarterback, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later, that means you're going to be running the football all day and all night. And like they could be, even when they get down in this game, they're gonna run the ball 40 to 50 times in this game. It's not, even if it's 3 and outs, they're gonna run the football. They're not gonna stop running the football because they know that they can't put this into his hands as a drop back passing game. If USC gets up, 17-3 or 21-7, that's going to be a tough road for Michigan to kind of handle. And I think the Wolverines know that, but they're going to bank on the best athlete and hope that will propel them to a victory over USC. So you got Easton Macarenas Arnold also playing well in the middle. They have depth there at linebacker. Those guys in the middle are really going to be key to stopping the run, coming down, stuffing those run lanes. Being that big part of Dan Lynn's defense that we've grown to love. Even though it's only 2 games, he's been fantastic. He's really been great. I mean, so much so people are talking about when is he leaving? He's not going to be here long. I ain't worried about that right now. I think his father was a head coach. I think he at some point will be a head coach, and he also is going to be a guy who's just not going to bounce off of any. He's not going to be on the first ticket out of Los Angeles. So I'm not really sweating that part of it. But while he's here, let's take advantage of the opportunity and beat up on some of these teams in the Big Ten as far as that is. USC's defense against Alex Orji, I think it's pretty simple. Or maybe it could be complex. I mean, do you come in with a mindset of loading the box and leaving everybody one-on-one? if you do that, it just takes one false step for that corner to have, and the next thing you know, you have a huge play, and then they got confidence in their passing game. Or do you just play it straight up and you just try to make sure that you stop the run and keep them in third and long? Because even in third and long, you got to start throwing it. And do they come out and just try to maybe get a screen pass, maybe try to get USC over aggressive, and then maybe hit a big play that way? I mean, it's a lot of different things that Sherrone Moore is going to do. Some of us have talked about why he named the quarterback so early in the week. I think it was merely because people say it's a rookie mistake. I mean, I don't think going into that game, D'Anton Lynn's too smart to just go after, just to kind of prepare for one quarterback. He basically prepared for both. But I think what he wanted, what the head coach of the Wolverines wanted to do was to just instill some confidence. Hey, you're our guy. We know it's a big game. It's going to be one of the most viewed games in college football this year. USC at Washington. I'm sorry, USC at Michigan. We want you to be ready to go. We're going to give you ready to give your first team reps, and we're going to treat you like the starter. And we'll just see how you handle it, because either way, whether Michigan finds a way to win this game or they get blown out by USC, like, they have an offensive issue. They know they have an offensive issue. And I think if USC is not, if USC is not foolish defensively, which I don't think they will be, because they have really good coaches on this staff now, as opposed to prior years, I think they're going to be fine in this ball game. I'm not really. I mean, like, you're going to have to see some real, like, Will. I listened to Josh Pate's preview of this game, and he talked about, wounded animal. They're going to give you everything they have, but if they survive that emotional storm early in the game, then what else do you have? Like, what other counter punches does Michigan have? Like, you're literally going to a game where the game is complete. Your offense is going against a solid defense that is filled with a bunch of really good linebackers and some good people in the secondary, and you're one dimensional. Like, it's kind of like you don't kind of. I mean, like, you kind of think that the emotion can overcome the tactical work of D'Anton Lynn, Coach Henney, Coach Entz, and Coach Belk. And I think that's the one thing I would guard against in this game. I would talk about. If I was them, I would talk about the emotions of playing in front of 100,000 people on our side and their side, and then just be able to weather that emotion and just do your work, do your assignment. Like, they did it at Allegiant Field against LSU. I don't see why they can't do it against Michigan. And it's not, I know this is a 100% a USC safe space, but just look at it just from a whole, like, zoom out view of it. Like, they have a more complete team, and they actually have a quarterback who can throw the forward pass. Alex Orji really struggles a lot, and to, to throw the ball accurately. And if they go out there and they get that perfect play action play, our safeties bite, and they have a post play wide open. Like, how dramatic is that play if they don't make it? It's huge for them if they don't make that play. Whereas, if Miller Moss misses a pass play to Zachariah Branch, or, somebody drops Makai Levin, God forbid, drops a pass, we know that there's more pass plays coming. We know that, the mind of Lincoln Riley will get more people involved and be able to make plays down the field at a later date. I'm excited for that part of it. We'll talk about, the battle between Wink Martindale and Lincoln Riley in another podcast coming up. But right now, I love the linebacking core, how they're playing, how Matt Entz is just really taking over that group and showing them how to play linebacker in this system. And then you got Alex Orji. Like, that is going to be that's going to be an interesting battle, because he is, like, do you have the integrity to stay within those rush lanes consistently over and over and over again when he does pass? And then when he does try to run the ball, like, you know, can they stand tall again? This is still a pretty big offensive line for Michigan, and I think that the weight and the strength that they put on at USC will make it so that they'll be able to handle and be able to stand toe to toe, so those linebackers can come in and make their plays. So, Student Body Right USC podcast, getting ready for Ann Arbor, getting ready for USC Michigan on Saturday afternoon. Should be fun. And we'll check you next time here on Student Body Right USC podcast. We have a lot of shows coming up, talking about a lot of different things. See you next time. As always, folks, fight on.